I hope so.
The big show. The big show.
That's right. That's what they call it.
We just went live.
Here we are. We're live. That's right. We're live with me and Randy Ray, the Literate Texan, and also the kindest, warmest, bravest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
That's me. That's me. Heck yes.
Hi, everybody. It's
go
ahead.
I almost didn't get that joke the other day, by the way. Well, I'll tell you why I didn't get that joke, because you and I have been known to engage in hyperbole occasionally.
Anyway. Right. That's right. Yes.
And so I was praising another booktuber, and she told me that it was a bit much. And I'm like, I don't really think that, I don't really think that. It was just hyperbole. And that's kind of humor that James and I like to engage in. And so I thought you were just pouring it on some more,
in my announcement video. Yeah. I figured you would pick up on it once you, it's.
Oh yeah. No, I picked up. Well, I haven't seen the movie in 30 or 40 years. So it was really big treat to see it tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those joining us, the movie we're talking about is The Manchurian Candidate from 1962, starring Frank Sinatra and Janet Leigh and a bunch of nobodies, directed by John Frankenheimer, with music by the ubiquitous David Amram, who is usually not among the first people mentioned in connection with this movie, but is a very interesting person. So Randy, you just rewatched this today. So I don't know if you want to give a little précis of the plot, if you don't mind.
I will give a little précis of the plot. Yeah. So, spoilers abound. If you haven't seen this already, you should probably watch it first and then see the discussion, because this is one where spoilers are actually going to matter.
Yeah,
but
true.
I'm going to go blowing right ahead. You can't discuss this one without spoilers.
No, exactly.
So, and it almost opens immediately with the first surprise. And you've got a bunch of soldiers sitting in a room with a camera panning around in circles, and there are women talking about flowers and raising flowers in a certain environment. But as the camera pans around, it's like, wait a minute, you got these women here, and then you got these soldiers in fatigues, like they're right in the muck, basically, or just how they look because of how they dressed. And then there's evil, dastardly Asian people who are apparently brainwashing these guys, and this is part of the brainwashing technique. But the way it was filmed was just brilliant. Frankenheimer was a genius.
Very disorienting.
It was very disorienting. But basically, they brainwashed a bunch of soldiers, and now they have multiple assassins that they can use whenever they want to. Yep. One of whom is the son of a senator.
Yes.
And he's not here, or he would correct me and tell me he's the stepson.
Of the
senator. He makes it very clear. He is not my father. I'm not his son. But yeah, that's one of the subplots. But yeah, and then it's got a big surprise ending too. It's really great.
Right. So this movie comes out in 1962, and it has a couple of sort of historical context things that help. One is the McCarthy hearings, the McCarthy era.
Right.
Generally, Joseph McCarthy was the senator from Wisconsin, and he, starting in the 50s, started making noises, and maybe even earlier, about the number of communists who had infiltrated the highest levels of the United States government. In the State Department, in the Defense Department, there are card-carrying communists. And so these people were... Yes. Well, maybe they were... I guess maybe he wouldn't have said card-carrying, because then you would have known who they were. But these would have been like secret double agents. They're working for our Defense Department, but they're feeding information to the Soviets and the Chinese. And, at the time, there was some of that, but it was nowhere near the level that McCarthy was claiming. And McCarthy was using this as as a demagogue. He was getting attention. He was getting, campaign donations. He was able to use it to attack his personal enemies, to say, well, you're a communist and you would be out of a job. And there were hearings in Congress. There was a committee in the House of Representatives called the House Un-American Activities Committee, and they would haul people in. Yes, they would haul people in. People would get put on blacklists and couldn't work. So this is kind of
a lot of Hollywood screenwriters.
Yes, a lot of Hollywood screenwriters were out of work for a long period of time because of this, and some of them named names. There's a Seinfeld episode about it. So that's some of the background. And this is still recent history in 1962. Also, one of the weird things when they're being brainwashed is they're being brainwashed by both Soviets and communist Chinese at the same time. And historically, we know those two countries, they were both nominally communist, but they were kind of not working together, to put it mildly.
Right.
But this did come out during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Which, can you imagine? Everyone is already kind of on the edge of their seats, with tension. And you go out to the movies and you see this kind of paranoid, fantasia about brainwashing and super assassins and things like that.
Well, and I'm going to latch onto that word fantasia there too, because that's what we're talking about here with the way this was filmed. Mm-hmm. On one hand, Frankenheimer's filming this with almost a pseudo documentary style, like it's a Channel 13 special, and a lot of the framing is done, like it's on television to make it look more realistic. But then he'll go widescreen. He'll use really odd camera angles, and it really reflects the kind of crazy mixed up world these kids are living in during this movie.
There are a lot of strange things. There's occasionally there will be voiceover from nowhere where it's like, yeah.
And that ended eventually. The voiceover was there for the first one quarter, maybe even first half of the movie. And then the voiceover just stopped.
Yeah.
Did not come back,
right.
You'd almost expect it to, but
So that's a strange choice.
Really, really tightly written film, and every time you think that you've reached the end of it, there's more plot to be revealed.
Right. Yeah.
It was it reminded me a little bit of The Return of the King at the movie theater. It had 5 endings.
Yeah.
This was almost the same way, except these endings, every one of them was like a gut punch, one right after the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's one fairly decisive ending, of course.
Oh, big time,
But
the characters are just fantastic, though. You've got the main character, the main assassin, who's the son of, and I can't remember the actor's name or the character's name. Yeah, I'm a really great film critic, aren't I?
Are you talking about
the
Raymond
main
Shaw?
Assassin?
Yeah, Raymond Shaw.
Raymond Shaw. Yeah, Raymond Shaw's the main character, and he is obviously got a very dysfunctional relationship with his mother and stepfather. Yeah. He cannot stand his stepfather, and he seems to hate his mother, but there's some real Oedipal stuff going on that becomes real obvious towards the end of the movie.
Yes.
Angela Lansbury is terrifying as his domineering mother. She's absolutely scary.
Also,
she really is.
Yeah. Also, when they filmed this, 3 years older than the actor playing Raymond Shaw.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, how old was she compared to Janet Leigh?
I don't know. They might have been the same age.
And then there was also the woman that played his girlfriend too,
yes.
and I can't remember what age she was either. But
right.
But
she
they were.
Yeah.
But they was pretty. Sinatra's in it, and he's terrific too.
Right. So
there's something I wanted to point about the Sinatra thing. I'm a huge Sinatra fan. A lot of people don't know this about me. Huge Sinatra fan. Sinatra hung out at a bar called Jilly's in New York.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene where they're in a bar and the Raymond Shaw is playing solitaire, and he gets the Queen of Diamonds, which is his trigger card, and he's got to follow the instructions after that because that's how he's been brainwashed. And the bartender says, "Go jump in the lake." So they leave, and he goes down to the river to jump in the lake. But as they leave, you see the bar that they're leaving is Jilly's.
Yeah.
It was actually Sinatra's hangout that they were leaving.
That was an actual place that he went. That's funny.
Yeah, Jilly was an actual guy. He was one of Sinatra's pals.
Do you know kind of where this falls in the overall arc of Sinatra's career? I mean, obviously, he was a great popular singer, and he started acting sort of after that, right? And he did like the Rat Pack movies and things. This is, I think, one of the few things that I've actually seen him in, and I mean, he's really good in it. And can I confess something to you, Randy?
Sure.
As a musician, I don't really like Frank Sinatra that much.
I've heard that before from other musicians.
You know, and
I've been playing guitar for 12 years, and I still don't call myself a musician, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in the New York area with a lot of, as an Italian American, and there's just a lot of it, and I don't really get it. I to be honest. So, but
I think in terms of the timeline, though, The Man with the Golden Arm was another big movie role for Sinatra, and it's also a great film. Really, the only thing it has in common with this is it's a black and white drama starring Frank Sinatra.
Right.
That's literally the only thing they have in common. They're probably filmed within a year or two of each other, if I had to guess. But my understanding is Sinatra's career musically started in the 30s, but he was still a beginner in the 30s, and Bing Crosby was the guy. And then Sinatra started to become the guy in the 40s.
Yeah. And
Bing Crosby was transitioning from the guy to, used to be the guy. And then in the 50s, Sinatra's the guy. Yeah. And then in the 60s, Elvis is becoming the guy, and Sinatra used to be the guy. So, and I don't know what happened after all that.
The Beatles were the guy.
Yeah, and then we got, there's Bob Dylan in there somewhere. But
yeah.
But yeah, and then, I guess Sinatra, he had a good little film career, though. I mean, these weren't the only two roles that he played by any means.
No. Okay, so here's some things about Sinatra in this movie that I found out. One is that he had a clause in his contract, maybe for everything, but for this movie in particular, that he would only do one take of anything.
Wow.
So if Frankenheimer wanted to do one take, and that was it, and you didn't argue with him.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And he had a reputation for being kind of difficult, but as an actor. And Frankenheimer said that he was actually pretty easy to work with. Janet Leigh said he was pretty easy to work with. And everyone was a little bit scared of working with him because of his reputation. Not just as a temperamental artiste, but also for his connections, if you know what I'm talking about. I think you do.
Right, yeah.
So
you really didn't fuck with Sinatra.
Yeah, and so I think maybe that's another thing I dislike about him. He comes off as a bit of a bully as a person, but that's for something. Hey, let's look at some of our comments because we've got a handful.
I was going to say we got some people here, don't we?
Yeah, we've got commenter extraordinary Libro Paradiso is back. Welcome, Libro. McCarthy, the original Deep State progenitor. Yes, indeed. It's a brilliant and unusual film. Agreed. The script is grim, and I am surprised the studio greenlit it. Yes, it is. It is grim and bleak, and exactly. Angela Lansbury makes Lady Macbeth look like Mary Poppins.
Boy, I'm telling you, she's sinister.
She's something. Then we have Game of Authors. I don't recognize that name, but welcome, Game of Authors. Sinatra is wonderful in From Here to Eternity. Another one I haven't seen, but I hear that it's a very good one. I haven't
seen either. We might have put that on the list, maybe.
We might put that on the list. I know it also has Murray Travis in it. So let's see. Libro Paradiso is unsubscribing, I assume because of my calumny of Frank Sinatra. So, so I've I've lost our best viewer. Sorry. And Game of Authors says he actually won an Oscar for From Here to Eternity. Okay, well, great. I guess we ought to put that on our short list or medium list or what have you. Yeah, there was one of the anecdotes, and I forget what it was about, but it had Frankenheimer having a disagreement with Sinatra and Sinatra saying something, and Frankenheimer said, I could hear the sound of legs breaking when he was talking to me.
Oh, wow.
But, okay, so I do not recall the name of the actor who played Raymond Shaw. And
no, I don't either, but he was wonderful.
He was.
And the character was a wonderful character, too, by the way.
Does he sound to you like a Korean War veteran? Does he sound to you like an American?
No, he sounds like he's got a British accent.
He sounds like a Brit.
And it's not that continental East Coast thing that everybody had a fake accent with in the movies of the 40s.
Yeah.
It's a distinctly British accent.
And no one says anything about it.
Never do they say anything about it.
Like an Oxford Don or something. And also, he was supposed to be a sergeant, right? He sounds extremely posh, right? And his mother is married to a senator. You would think he would at least be in the officer corps. So it's a little peculiar.
Well, that was an interesting thing for me at the beginning of the movie. They brainwashed him to talk about, hey, he's the kindest, warmest, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. And he's won the Medal of Honor, and he's done some pretty amazing things. But Sinatra knows that even though he said that about him automatically, he also knows he doesn't really believe that about him because nobody likes him.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the impression that this character was particularly unlikable, but apparently he was really unlikable.
Yes.
And that was kind of a nice little twist right at the very beginning. Is like, what's so unlikable about this poor fella? Right. And then Sinatra got to know him a little bit and realized, hey, this guy's all right.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a broken heart too, like most of us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it starts off, right, where all the GIs are hanging out in a brothel, right? And Shaw
that's right,
Sergeant Shaw is the one who comes and like hauls them out of there and says, come on, guys, we got to go.
That's right, yeah.
Right. And then they go out on night patrol and get captured by the communists.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and the communists take them to brainwash them. Yeah,
right. So I think that his Medal of Honor, even that is fake, right? Because he wins that for saving his platoon, but his platoon was not saved. They were all brainwashed to say that he did.
Completely fabricated story. Yeah.
Right. And in fact, the only casualties of that operation were 2 people that he personally killed.
Yeah, to demonstrate to the unbelievers that the brainwashing worked.
Right. Which I know.
And that was pretty grim, surprising stuff too, when they give him the instructions to kill these people and then he does it.
Yeah.
Because you don't expect him to do it.
Without a, and no one reacts.
There was no resistance or anything. Yeah, everybody's just like, yeah. Even the victims don't react.
Yeah. Amazing. And it's so, and in the context of like a garden club.
Right. Yeah. They're talking about their rhododendrons or whatever.
Yes, it is so strange. And how about so Frank Sinatra comes back and he's plagued by dreams where he's remembering the brainwashing in pieces. And there's another character, there was another GI, and we see him having similar dreams about the brainwashing.
Yeah.
But we see
that's right. Yeah. The black guy.
Yeah. For a little bookish content that Sinatra is lying in bed and his bed is covered in books.
That's right.
This is like his escape as he likes to read. And one of them is Ulysses by James Joyce.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the scene where Sinatra's talking to somebody. I don't remember. Yeah. I think it's his commanding officer that's come over to visit him. Mm-hmm. And he says, you sure do have a lot of books. And Sinatra says, yeah, these are just some things I'm interested in. And it's just the most random and obscure subjects, one right after the other.
Yeah.
Like Greek architecture and followed with,
Diseases of
psychology of
horses.
banking. Yeah, diseases for horses. That's right. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, just stuff I'm interested in.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's nothing odd about it at all. That he's gonna like play it off, and the guy's not gonna notice how weird that is.
Well, I think so. I think the point is that the guy realizes it, and Sinatra's character realizes that the guy realizes it, and he's like,
"Yep,
I've kind of lost my mind, haven't I?" And you can tell.
Yep. Yeah, they force him to take time off.
Yeah, so he has to take time.
Yeah, they put him on a forced vacation, and he says, "I absolutely refuse."
Yeah.
Because you don't understand. This is an order.
Yeah,
you don't get to refuse.
Right. So then, let's move on with the plot because something really strange happens next. He's on a train.
Oh, I love the strange scenes.
And he's trying to light a cigarette.
Trying to light a cigarette.
He drops it into a glass. He's clearly messed up. He's got what they would call PTSD now.
And he's sitting next to Janet Leigh.
Yeah.
Who I kept getting confused, by the way, with Eva Marie Saint, who's also on a train with Cary Grant in North by Northwest.
Right.
Similar voice, Hitchcock blonde, and very seductive.
Yeah. So, yes. So the beautiful Janet Leigh, and he can't light a cigarette.
Terrific.
And so he just like knocks over the table and goes out to the little area at the end of the train, between the
area that they kill you if you're in double indemnity. Yeah,
exactly. And so she follows him out there, and she lights a cigarette and hands it to him, and they're talking. It's so strange. He's sweaty. He's dripping sweat. He's drenched in sweat.
Yes.
He won't look her in the face. He's like looking, this is what it's like. If you meet me in person, this is what it's like to meet James in person. I'm sweating and I'm not looking anyone in the eye. This is what this guy's doing, and somehow she finds him just fascinating. She falls in love with this guy, just talking to him on the train. And it's clear that he's out of his mind. But who's more out of their mind? Because
she dumps her fiance for him immediately.
Exactly. This is what I'm going to say. You're engaged to someone. She comes back from a trip to Baltimore or whatever. Is like, it's over. I met this sweaty guy who won't look me in the face on the train.
Well, and they were talking, and it seemed to me, it took me a while to figure out. I thought she was some type of agent, and they were talking in code to each other. Yes. And like there was one point where he says, "Do you work for the railroads or the railroad companies?" And they say, "You're supposed to say railroad lines." And I'm like, "My God! I mean, is she part of this conspiracy? Is this, is she somebody?"
Mm-hmm.
It was really bizarre.
I'd say her look, as beautiful as Janet Leigh is, I'd say her fiance dodged a bullet there. I mean, she's gonna throw him over for her guy that she met on a train.
Right? Yeah, just decides to dump him immediately. Presumably, the guy that she's been engaged to, she's known for a while.
Right?
Maybe not though. Maybe she met him on a train too.
Maybe that guy was crazier, and Sinatra's character just seemed.
But they sure did hit it off, didn't they? And stayed together through the entire movie.
Yes. So the joke is on me. I'm sure they were very happy together and had several children and grandchildren, some of whom are booktubers today.
Right. Yep. Probably so.
But okay. So let's see. All right. So then we have Raymond Shaw, who has come back as a Medal of Honor winner, right? And his mother and the senator, they pick him up at the airport and get on another plane,
private plane.
A private plane.
And the press keeps asking the Medal of Honor winner about his dad. He's not my dad. He's not my father.
He's not my father. Yeah, he's my stepfather. And so his father is the senator and is a Joe McCarthy type. So he has hit on this.
Except he's also a clown.
he's a total idiot and a clown and a blowhard.
Funny?
Yeah.
Like George W. Bush, but like ramped up on the clownishness even further.
Yes.
Like George W. Bush was like kind of funny, clownish, like not clownish like Trump, where you're like, oh my God, what's up with this guy? But clownish like, oh man, this is kind of funny, you know? Nothing funny about Trump, but
yeah.
Right.
Bush is funnier in retrospect.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, reminded me of my high school principal.
Right, but I mean, it's like Joe McCarthy was a total idiot as well, but he could be terrifying because of the power.
Did he have big parties where he would cut up and limbo dance like this guy?
I'm not sure about that. But
and this actor was interesting too because I remember this actor really well from Barney Miller. I don't know if you ever watched the Barney Miller show.
He
played Inspector Luger.
Okay. Yeah.
He played Inspector Luger, who would occasionally come in and hang out with the boys at the precinct, but he's an old, experienced detective who just comes in to hang out with Barney and the other cops once in a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, but that, and he was a recurring character on there for years.
Okay, I it's been so long since I saw Barney Miller, but
just a real gritty cop character. Well, obviously with a name like Inspector Luger, you would expect him to be,
pretty no nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was of course, I don't want to get too deep into an episode of Barney Miller here, but there was one episode where he gets busted down where he has to like work alongside the other cops. And he's from the old school, man. He just pulls a gun on the guy and forces a confession out of him. And the other cop's like, I don't know what to do. I got to talk to Barney. But yeah, that's that actor. And he was great though. I mean, because I completely believed him. And he goes around and it becomes a running joke that he's claiming there's a certain number of communists in the Department of Defense, but the number is always changing.
Yeah.
Sometimes multiple times during the same interview.
Yes.
And he finally tells Angela Lansbury, I need one number that's easy to remember.
I can't remember a number.
He's obviously her puppet, and he's just fine being her puppet.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah, he's got no problem at all being her puppet, right. So I thought that was also very entertaining.
Yes, and the way he arrives at the number is they're having breakfast, and he's like all good Americans, he's having a steak for breakfast.
That's right.
And he's absolutely drenching it in Heinz ketchup.
That's right. Yep.
Which has a 57 on the label. So the next thing he's saying, I have it on good authority that there are no fewer than 57 communists.
That's right. This is how he remembers it. Yeah, that's greatness. That was greatness.
Yeah. But man, that bottle of ketchup is empty by the time he's finished dumping out his ketchup. Well,
and then there's a scene where after Sinatra has figured out that they've been brainwashed and convinced his superiors of it, they put him on Shaw detail, basically. He's got to go keep an eye on Shaw because they figured out he's in a position where he could do some real damage to the infrastructure of the country.
Yes.
And then you got this scene where Shaw starts telling him about how I'm not a lovable person and I know it. And I'm never going to be lovable.
Oh, no. Don't argue with me. This is what he
said. Yeah.
They're drunk. And Shaw's like, I know I'm unlovable. Right, don't argue with me.
They're drunk. That's right. Yeah. And then it launches into this flashback about his romance with the young woman who just happens to be the daughter of
another senator,
the other guy's political rival.
Yes. They live across the lake from each other.
Live across the lake from each other, and they made the Bernie Sanders type character, who is how I thought of him as a Bernie Sanders type. They made him just as lovable as he could be.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to vote for this guy, and who wouldn't want him for your stepfather? And you could see he was like really wanting to replace his dysfunctional family.
Yeah. Yes.
With something a lot more functional and human.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not going to happen. Right. He's too fucked up at this point.
Right.
It's just it's almost like the die has been cast at this point because And he knows it. Part of him knows it. Part of him knows, hey, man, so at some point you go too far down the road of being dysfunctional, you ain't coming back.
Right. Right.
You know, because, you know, we often talk about in the recovery community, you know, I'm a recovering alcoholic. We often talk about how if it's 10 miles into the woods, it's probably going to get 10 miles out of the woods.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go into the woods and you get lost. And this guy Shaw has gone into the woods and gotten lost, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And him finding his way out is just extremely unlikely. And as we find out by the end of the movie, which after it's over, it seems really inevitable, that, yeah, he wasn't going to get found.
No, I don't think so. Unfortunately. Yeah. And he realizes that, I think.
Yeah. It's, which makes it kind of tragic, but you know, also, you know, this movie isn't really, I don't think it's really about politics very much. I mean, ostensibly it's about politics and it's about communism and democracy and so forth. Really, it's about control.
Yeah.
It's all about control. It's all about Angela Lansbury controlling her son and controlling her husband and trying to take control of the entire world, basically. Yeah, because, you know, she's going to try to get her husband to be the president through this plot that's worthy of a 007 villain, first of all.
Yes.
But she's also controlling her son. And then you get this revelation that she's his handler. She's in league with the commies.
Yeah.
Not only are they the ones screaming, hey, everybody's a communist, but they are literally in league with the communists.
Yes.
And she's so lustful for power and control that she has sold her own son's soul to become powerful. Man, that's intense. But yeah, like you said, Lady Macbeth's got nothing on this lady, man.
And here's the thing about her. She is terrifying because she seems to be one thing, but she's another. But, right. I mean, the thing that she seems to be is terrifying, but what she actually is even worse. And
yes,
a lot of the people in this who are ideologues or seem to be ideologues are also complete hypocrites. For example, Dr. Yin, who is the Chinese brainwasher, who we originally see in the brainwashing scenes.
With the great laugh.
Right. And he turns up in New York because, you know, they're following up with Raymond Shaw and they want to test out, you know, they know that in their controlled environment, they can get him to assassinate someone. They want to prove that he can assassinate someone in New York. So he's visiting with a Soviet official who has like some operation in New York, in a brownstone. And they're like, well, who should we get him to assassinate? And Dr. Yen tells the Soviet guy, why don't we just have him assassinate one of your people? And the guy says,
yeah.
I mean, I would gladly, but I mean, we have to do someone
else.
We're
already understaffed.
We're understaffed.
That's right. The thing was, we're already horribly understaffed.
Yeah, of course, I would love to have him murder one of my employees, right? And they're like, okay, well, we'll have him assassinate his boss, who's a newspaper editor, right? But Dr. Yen then says to the Soviet, all right, I have to go to Macy's. My wife has given me a shopping list, right? So this guy who's like a high-placed communist has to go out and buy a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah, he's still henpecked.
And then just continuing my thing about the hypocrisy, when the senator has his big party where he's dressed up as Lincoln, they have
that's what I think of the senators.
And there's Lincoln.
That party was amazing
everywhere. There's Lincoln I don't know why, but he has a spread that has like caviar, like the American flag, where the blue section is like caviar, and the guy and the senator like gets a big old scoop of it and he's eating it, and he says to the people around him, we'll say it's Polish caviar.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, clearly it's Russian caviar, so he's buying stuff from the evil, hated communists.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, well, we'll say it's Polish caviar. Amazing. We've got some more comments.
They were having a big time at the party because You know, you got Angela Lansbury in the other room trying to convince her son to marry the woman that she thwarted his marriage to 2 years previously.
Right.
And meanwhile, our husband's out there limbo dancing.
Yeah.
And then something comes up that's way beyond his ability to handle. And he's like, who's in there with you anyway? And, you know, it just goes more into that Oedipal thing because obviously there's more feelings going on between her and her son than is, you know, obvious.
Yeah.
Well, and it is obvious because obviously he hates his stepfather beyond all reason. You know, and it's partially it's a jealousy thing because, you know, even though he claims to hate his mom, the truth is he and his mom are in love with each other, man. You can't come away with it without any other conclusion, man.
I think you got a point.
It's a really sick, twisted love affair, but that's what it is, man.
It's a dark move. We got some more comments, so and mostly from Libro. So Harlan Ellison has a story about Sinatra being known for provoking fights, but using his bodyguards instead to do the fighting. So
Frank Sinatra has a cold.
There's a joke that
it's the name of the story.
Right, yeah.
But Gay Talese actually wrote the story about it.
Right. I'm trying to think. Don Rickles has a story where he said, you know, Frank Sinatra saved my life one time. I was in an alleyway and these guys were beating the crap out of me. And Sinatra came out and said, all right, boys, he's had enough.
That's good stuff right there.
Let's see. Libro says Janet Leigh got her divorce papers while filming this film. Okay, well, you know.
Interesting.
So, I guess, yes, life and art parallel. Let's see. Her character is like Eva Marie in North by Northwest, as you said, Randy. There's a mystery to her. It leaves the impression that she might be a foreign agent. Yeah. And you know, similar kind of like overwhelming just air of paranoia in both of these movies, right?
Right. Well, I've got a favorite Sinatra story too. Dennis Miller tells a story about how he got backstage passes to see Sinatra one time, and he brought his mom. And I guess somehow it comes up that she saw Sinatra playing at the Sands at some point, and he said, "Oh yeah, you're on the fourth row. I'll seat. You look good, baby." And he said, and there's this 65-year-old mother just going, "Oh," you know, because Sinatra's like in his 70s at this point, and he's still wooing the ladies from the stage, you know.
Yeah, that's funny. Let's see. The film is layered with shocking scenes. When Shaw murders his father-in-law, spoiler, and then his wife, it is brutal. Yes, the camera is on the ground, which makes his wife's assassination even more disturbing. Oh my God,
didn't see it coming either.
No, you don't.
I didn't see that coming, and I should have because I've seen the movie before, and you'd think I would remember that, but when I saw that, I was like, "Whoa!"
You kind of know that he's going to kill. Yes, and like you, I saw this movie years ago, and I forgot about that. But it's like, okay, not his father because they're wait, hold on. Anyway. So when he shoots the guy with the carton of milk, it's like, okay, when he comes in, you know he's going to kill that guy. You just know that's going to happen. But that the daughter comes down and catches him, and he just like cold-blooded drills her in the forehead. And let's see. This film is a good comparison to 7 Days in May, Face in the Crowd, The Best Man. Don't know that one. Advise and Consent, yes. And Failsafe, yes. All of those, I don't know The Best Man. The rest of them are all incredible and kind of do go with this. I haven't seen most of them for a while. But
that Cold War paranoia, there's nothing quite like it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've grown inured to it. But back then it was still new. It was still a fresh, new, raw wound over everybody in the nation, this whole Cold War thing. But Frankenheimer directed some of those other ones too. I don't remember which ones, but I'm pretty sure he directed Advise and Consent. And he might have directed Failsafe too, which Failsafe, oh man, what a movie.
Yeah, indeed. There was
really odd story about Failsafe too, because it has this exact same plot as Dr. Strangelove. And they were both based on a book, but they were both based on different books that were also had the same plot. The movies didn't rip each other off, but the books didn't reach each other. It was just parallel development.
I think that they came out like a week apart, like in the theaters.
Yeah.
And Strangelove was first, and Failsafe kind of like had a different reception because people had already seen Strangelove, and with this kind of, it's like you follow a farce with something that's like just deadly serious, like Failsafe is.
Right.
Just kind of took it in the wrong way. But when you see it on its own, even today, it's like it's kind of gripping. I can't resist watching things about the world being destroyed with nuclear weapons. It's kind of my.
Speaking of that, somebody mentioned Harlan Ellison earlier. Yeah. Harlan Ellison was the main creative consultant on the 1980s reboot of The Twilight Zone.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the second episode of The Twilight Zone was called Little Peace and Quiet. Yeah. And it's about this woman. She finds a watch, and she's able to tell everybody to shut up, and she can freeze time.
Yeah.
And it's great. She can get peace and quiet anytime she wants it. But then, there's nuclear bombs coming over, and she freezes time, and she's wandering through the streets because everybody's frozen. And you can see the bomb hanging in the distance, but she walks by a matinee. The matinee has a double feature showing Dr. Strangelove and Failsafe. Matinee that's showing.
Classic, yeah.
Which, of course, is horribly unlikely in real life, but not in the Twilight Zone.
It's the Twilight Zone, after all. Libro says Sidney Lumet directed Failsafe. Yeah, another great.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Sidney Lumet had an odd career.
Well, yes. Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff, too.
I don't know if he made a bad one. It was just one of these
I don't know that he
workman like guys who just like churned out good stuff. Yep. So let's see. Okay. Like listening to Orestes gripe about Clytemnestra. Do you remember?
Yep. That was pretty funny. I got a big kick out of that.
I think this is when they were drunk in the drinking scene, and
it was. Yeah, Sinatra was talking about him, and you would think that the guy with the what did you call his voice earlier? The posh voice. You would think that he would be familiar with the Greek classics in that sense, but no, it's Sinatra, the guy who's. It sounds like he's one of the Brooklyn Dodgers who's well versed in the classics. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Greeks. A couple of Greeks in a play.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. So, let's see. Gore Vidal wrote The Best Man. It is one of the best and more realistic political films ever made. None of that Mr. Smith Goes to Washington fairy tale nonsense. All right. Well, Gore Vidal is not going to write a fairy tale for us. I don't know this. Do you know this movie, Randy?
No.
The Best Man? No.
I don't know it. But I do love Gore Vidal.
Yeah.
And I love Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I'm a huge fan of Frank Capra, in fact. If anybody's interested in reading about Frank Capra, I do own a website about Frank Capra. It's called capricorn.org.
Why are you making
you can read my writings about Frank Capra films there.
Obviously not. Obviously none of that's true.
Was it you that told me the other day that you just assumed that I have a website on every topic imaginable?
No, not me.
Somebody told me that. I've heard that multiple times. When people find out what I do for a living, somebody told me one time, he said, Randy, I just assume that it doesn't matter what the topic is. You own a website about it. I do have diverse interests.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Capra being one of them.
Game of Authors says, don't knock Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. We weren't. It was Libro is
good
not
film.
Me. So, you take it up with Libro. Good luck.
That's right. We don't want to know what Libro thinks of The West Wing or Aaron Sorkin either.
The
heir is apparent to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and Frank Capra.
I suppose that's true. I've only ever seen an odd episode here and there, so I'm not that familiar.
Well, The West Wing is how we wished the government in our country worked, but it's not, obviously.
Right.
that Kevin Spacey show that was on Netflix before he got Me Too'd.
Yes.
That's how our government probably really works.
I don't think that the vice president typically murders as many people as he did on that show.
Maybe not.
Like personally, with his own hands murders that many people. I mean, we were talking about the Bush years, and Cheney did shoot a guy in the face when he was vice president. But
that's true. Shot him all over. A lot of buckshot there, man.
Yeah, but what was that? Was House of Cards? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. House of Cards. I don't know why I couldn't remember the name of that show.
Which is,
Spacey's a pretty weird guy. Okay, so after he gets Me Too'd, and he's got court cases pending, and he's been pulled off of Netflix. He shows up in character on a YouTube video making Christmas dinner and talking in what is it, Frank Reynolds' voice or whoever the character is. Talking in his voice about how the bad guys are actually going to get caught. It's like, what are you, nuts, man? You think a judge is going to look kindly on this?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, never forget that. It was just like, Spacey, you're a weirdo, man.
Yeah.
Very talented weirdo, but
I think he, like, after all that kind of went off, he got a little paranoid himself and had, not enough to do, and his mind just kind of convinced him that this was a good idea when it obviously wasn't. I mean, the stuff he did, he seems like a total creep, but
this is a guy who thought he was a good choice to play Bobby Darin, even though he was 60 years old when he did it,
Yeah.
And I mean, he would have been a great choice to play Bobby Darin when Bobby Darin was 60. He's not a great choice to play Bobby Darin when Bobby Darin's 25.
No, not at all.
Good movie, though, and he's a great singer.
I have not seen that movie, but
Beyond the Sea.
Yeah, I remember it being in theaters. Steven Seagal has a long time ambition to play an important historical figure, and that is Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, wow.
Steven Seagal.
Well, of course. Of course. Well, it's like Steve Donahue says that if we hang around long enough, we're going to get a version of The Lord of the Rings where Gandalf is a black lesbian woman.
Yeah. Yes, probably so. Let's see. Libra is saying Gore Vidal couldn't stand Frank Capra. He wanted to direct Best Man and change the ending. So I guess Frank Capra wanted to direct Best Man.
Right.
Gore Vidal had him removed, thankfully. So that's pretty powerful for a writer to be able to remove a director and producer, especially one as big as Capra.
Frank Capra was huge. He was president of the Motion Picture Association for a long time.
Yeah.
He wasn't small fry. He was the Spielberg of that Italian era, man.
Yeah. Kevin Spacey became known for his appearance in the second season of Wise Guy. In it, his character has an interesting relationship with his sister. Now, I first remembered Kevin Spacey, I think it was in 7, or probably it was something before 7. Oh, you know what? He was in, okay. I met Kevin
Glengarry Glen Ross.
Glengarry Glen
That's what I remember.
Ross. That was the first thing I saw him in.
The office manager. Will you go to lunch? Yeah. Will you go to lunch?
Let me tell you something. I met Kevin Spacey. I met Kevin Spacey at a restaurant, and this is the situation. I went to NYU as an undergrad, and there was a guy who lived down the hall who was an acting student, and he had been, like, he was my age. He had been in a TV movie with Kevin Spacey, and this guy, we were kind of friends, and we went out one night to a Chinese restaurant that was around the corner from our dormitory, and we're sitting there eating, and Kevin Spacey sat down at the table next to us with some dude, and Kevin Spacey was not a famous actor at the time, but this guy that I was hanging out with had been in a thing with Kevin Spacey, and they're like, "Hey, Matt, Kevin," and they were greeting each other, and Matt says to him, man, you and Glenn Ross, you're taking the heat from Pacino, amazing. And he's like, oh, thank you. And they're like talking actor shit, you know. And our food came, and I told you it was a Chinese restaurant, right? And we ordered mushu pork, and Spacey sees it and he says to us, you boys are mushu porking it tonight. And it just like in a way that you can imagine him saying it and like putting some kind of a little insinuation in there.
Oh no.
It's like what we ordered. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But
you guys are mushy porking it tonight, huh?
I mean, we ate it.
I'm going to remember that. I'm going to order mushy pork just so I can say that.
I know. I never get it without thinking of that.
This is my life. I'm stealing creepy lines from Kevin Spacey. This is my life now.
Yeah. So let's see. American Beauty. Yeah, Libro says American Beauty too. He had a small part in Working Girl. I don't remember him in Working Girl. I saw Working Girl.
I remember taking my mom and dad to see Working Girl, and they were so offended by the nudity that they almost got up and walked out. And I don't remember there being a lot of nudity in it.
No,
but, I remember my mom leaning over to me. My mom and dad, they didn't really go to the movies a lot when I was real young because they were poor. But then when I was a teenager, Daddy'd been at work long enough that he was making some money. So I finally convinced him to go to the movies with me. We'd go see Working Girl. Mm-hmm. And my mom leans over after, I think Melanie Griffith is vacuuming a rug topless or something. My mom leans over, is this one of those porno movies, son? Like I'm in an episode of Ma and Pa Kettle or something.
Oh, my God. I know the scene you're talking about. For some reason, that one I remember. But that's like 50 minutes into the movie. I mean,
right. Obviously, they've never seen a real porno movie. You know?
Yeah, I guess not.
But my dad just sitting over there, just staring at the ground. It's like, come on, they're just boobs, guys. Y'all know about boobs, right?
Yeah, you heard about them.
Well, as I got to know my dad, as he got older and mom passed away and stuff, Dad knew all about boobs. Let me tell you.
That's okay, Randy. You don't have to tell us.
I don't have to go into any more detail than that. Sorry, Dad. Daddy's gone now too. So. But he would be horribly angry with me for speaking about that on TV.
All right, so I wanted to talk about one more thing about this film, which is David Amram, who did the score. And the score is not usually something that people remark upon with this film, but it's very weird and modernist, right? It's kind of 60s modernist, and it has a lot of winds, like horns and flutes and such, and everything just kind of like floats. There's not like, you don't think of this movie and think of like a theme, like a strong theme, right? Like the last thing we talked about.
Not like Wrath of Khan.
Exactly. So Wrath of Khan had themes that go with the different ships and and with Kirk
specific
and Khan,
characters and backgrounds. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in that Wagnerian mode.
Practically a character in that movie.
And there's almost always some music somewhere, but it's just kind of like floats in this impressionistic kind of way, like almost like Debussy or something, but it is unsettling, right? And David Amram, who wrote the score, is incredibly ubiquitous. You'll see his name in all kinds of places, and he did the movie. I think the first thing he did music for was a movie called Pull My Daisy. Which, have you ever heard of Pull My Daisy?
I have not.
All right, you and I are too old to get into the Beat Generation. But if when you were in your 20s, you got into the Beat Generation writers, you would have heard of Pull My Daisy, because it's a film that Jack Kerouac wrote, and it was shot or is directed, sort of. It was like improvised, but it was made by Robert Frank, who's a famous still photographer mostly. And Dave Amram did the music, and it's all sort of like this improvised beatnik kind of poetry. And David Amram was one of the first people who did that sort of thing of having hipster poetry with jazz music. He was one of the musicians who did that, and he did that with Jack Kerouac and Ginsberg and people of that nature back in the 50s, And I can see you're impressed and you really love that kind of thing. But over the years, he did a lot of, like, he was an orchestra conductor. He wrote concertos and symphonies and collaborated with jazz musicians and classical musicians. So he's kind of all over and he was actually, there's a clip of him on David Letterman sometime in the 80s, like demonstrating musical instruments that he collected. Like he just like showed up and it has this like table with like ocarinas and cellos and such. And he's like, because he could play like a little bit of every instrument, and so he just kind of does this spiel for David Letterman, and he like shows him this, a doumbek, an Egyptian drum, and then all these little flutes and things, and just like talks really fast. David Amram is still alive. He's 94, I think. And you can still see interviews of him like months ago where he like is incredibly, he's a real live wire. Like he just kind of like is a show on,
that's great.
On his own, and you just kind of set him and he starts talking because he's been so many places, done so many things, and is worth a little rap on his own. So just wanted to bring that up. I'm not crazy about the music in this, but I'm interested in the composer. So and.
Well, I was afraid you were going to tell me that Bernard Herrmann had composed the score for this, and it'd be like, well, I didn't notice. So I'm glad it wasn't.
Right, yeah. So we're coming up on an hour, and
almost at the top of the hour.
Yes, sir. I don't know
what have we got to look forward to in future episodes of Cinephile Sundays.
I don't honestly know. I don't know what we're doing next. We haven't corresponded.
We're going to have some guest stars, though, right?
If we can nail down a date, so we'll have to talk about that after. But yeah, we are.
Oh yeah,
we are.
I know how that works.
Yes. So, but we're considering it. Maybe we ought to have Libro on to talk about a classic film of his interest. But we'll talk about it after.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I have enjoyed the hell out of this. What a great choice in movies.
It was fantastic, Randy. And
I don't know what we're going to think of next, but also just for our, I think most of our audience is James's audience. But if you're not part of James's audience, excuse me, you should be watching his channel. It is the finest YouTube channel on the internet. It doesn't have nearly enough subscribers.
Well, thank you for saying so, Randy. As I've always said, you are the kindest, warmest, bravest, most wonderful human being I have ever known in my life.
I'm just glad you noticed.
Oh, Patricia H is here. Hi, Patricia. Thanks for dropping in. Libro says that would be nice. Yes, thank you. Okay, well, we'll be in touch about that. All right, everybody. Thanks for
all right.
Stopping
Happy
by
trails,
for
folks.
Sundays.